And it's a gorgeous, gorgeous record. But everybody was in the studio, and it was live, and there was no overdubs, and it was just, you know. And the same thing with the Mancini records. You know, it was all done at one time. And, you know, now it's layer upon layer upon layer. And fortunately, I don't do that as much as a lot of guys, but you know, it happens. And you know, I'm in the middle of this record with Streisand, and you know, the fact that she didn't hear a T on the end of Scent, but she got a T on Don't, and we could take the T from there and put it on Scent. And you know, and I like this breath. You know that breath I did Thursday night, and Steve Jenner was here. He'll back me up on this. It's insane. I mean, it's such a gorgeous, beautiful record, and it was a month ago, and and it's just, you know, it's like little minutiae stuff. It's just, it gets. I mean, you know, we just go in and do what she says, and you know, send her a bill. I love her. I mean, she's great, and she's been so nice to Steve and I. I mean, she's just been great to work with, but it just gets tedious after a while. Mm-hmm. It's the same thing over and over. You know, and now we did the album. Finally, that's done. But now she wanted to do an unplugged thing, just the rhythm and her vocal, without the orchestra. And so I mixed the 11 songs. It took 2 or 3 days. We send them off to her. She sends them out. She loves the mixes, just loves them. But there's one little thing in each one. So we have to go back next week and recall all those 11 to fix the one little thing in each. It just seems to go on and on and on. And the money, you know. And years ago, when you could, I worked on The Way We Were with her. And Tommy, we did 5 songs in about 8 hours. Finished. Mm-hmm. I mean, except for mixing. Then I think we were on 3 or 4 track. But today, because you can do it, she does it. Continues on, you know.
Well, beyond your professionalism and accommodation, I suppose we could say, to the artist needs, what to you has been the key of maintaining some of these really long-lasting artistic relationships and partnerships you've had with so many artists?
I don't know. I guess maybe it's my personality. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, that's as good a trait as any. So.
Maybe. I'm easy to be around in the studio, you know. I'm kind of quiet and stay out of the way a lot and do what I have to do. So I get people like that.
What sort of studios do you enjoy working in?
Oh, well, I love Capitol here. I love Capitol in New York, Avatar. You know, in London, Abbey Road. It's great.
There's certain characteristics about those.
And here, there's a scoring stage, Sony. I love working there. It's a beautiful room. Depending on the orchestra and all. I love the more people that are in the studio, the more I like it. You know, it's a lot easier to record 80 people than it is to record 8. You know, it's just simpler. You know, because there's all these sections, and at least for me it is anyway. I don't know. How about you, Eddie? Journey.
Are you still going back to those old charts and things, the book that you had when you first started out? You've probably written quite a few in there since.
No, it's gone. It's gone. lost it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wish I had it. It would be great, but no, it's gone.
Well, you're so renowned for the string sound in particular. Is there any particular key to that from an engineering producing standpoint that you care to share about that? The key to capturing that really definitive sound?
What there's no secrets to it. I use great mics, and I always use the mics in omnidirectional. I just like the way they sound that way. Great mic, put it in the right place, and good preamp, and it's done. It's easy. It's really
Easy. I want to go back even further, actually, to you mentioned the Clovers in your first hit and things like that, and engineering and producer, you're known for these great ears and things. What is it like to hear that record of yours on the radio for the first time when you first heard that?
Oh, it's a great thrill. I used to record with Bobby Shad sitting in records, and we'd finish a date, cut some an acetate, and then we'd drive up to Harlem to the radio station up there, William Ray, and on the way back, we could hear the record that we just made. They would play it, and we'd hear it on the air. It's a great thrill.
Yeah.
Great thrill.
I'm wondering if perhaps we could bring our guests up
Sure.
and talk a little bit about working with you from the artist perspective, if we would.
Sure.
I'd
Should
like to
I
welcome
leave?
up. No, please be right here if you would. I'd like to welcome up Steve Lukather and Natalie Cole, please. Yeah, thanks again for joining us. Well, thanks very much. Hope I continue to.
No touching.
I can't promise you that.
Thanks, Steve, for joining us. Appreciate it. Yeah. Well, thank you both for taking the time to join us this evening and share some stories here as well. And I think Al's spoken quite a bit from his perspective about what a privilege it's been working with both of you. I'm kind of curious to talk about, from your perspective, what it's like to have been working with Al, and perhaps even when you first met him or heard about him, whether or not that was in person or maybe you just heard the record. Or
Wow. I met Al when I was a teenager. I was in the late 70s. I just started.
Mind you.
No, I met Al when I was a teenager. I was just starting out in the studios, about 19 years old. And, it was probably Capitol.
Sunset Sound.
Sunset Sound. We used to live there. And, I just always, the first time I noticed Al was way back in the, oh, this is it. Hello. That's my son. Thank you. Hello.
there we go.
Can you help me out here, Al? Okay, start again. I was 19 when I met Al. When I was just starting out in the studios, I went to high school with the Porcaro brothers, and that's how I kind of fell into the whole thing. Growing up here in Los Angeles, we all went to the same high school and stuff like that, and I got to know.
Great mic, great placement, great preamp.
I love all
yeah.
the special attention. And Al Schmitt is a legendary name, because as in high school, I really got into the whole session thing and started reading, liner notes. And some of these great records came. I remember one of my favorite records was the first Al Jarreau record that you produced and engineered. But I just remember reading your name on all these fantastic albums. When I finally got a chance to work with you, I was like starstruck. We were all just, I was just a kid, like I'm working with all these legendary people. I just remember how great it sounded in the phones, because even before we even got to go and listen to a playback, the phone mix was always, Al's phone mixes were great. What I'm saying? Forget about the records. We're just cutting the tracks, and you just hear this amazing sound. It's very inspiring. You have no idea as a musician to have inspiring sounds. Everything just kind of flows together. But cutting later, later in the game, we were making, when we first got together, we worked on the Toto record. The story he told about Paige and all of us sitting in there, because we never rehearsed. We hated rehearsals. So whoever brought in a song, that's the song we could. That particular day, it was Dave's song. So he started playing it, and then Jeff came up with the groove. And then we all fell into our parts. And he was about to, until, like what Paige said, it's like, you know, and I noticed that Al was walking around the room. And he, like, you know, he'd put his head, he'd move a microphone, maybe just like a half an inch. I remember him especially being intrigued because my guitar amp was playing the little deluxe reverb, and I had my 59 Les Paul at the time, and I was just plugged straight in. And Al just came out and he listened, and I just saw him move the mic just a little bit, and I'm going, wow, I've never seen engineers just come out in the room. It's usually just all in here, you know what I mean? Coming out into the room. And we weren't playing particularly loud or anything like that, but I just remember just like kind of go, wow, that's pretty cool, you know. And then, like Paige said, you know, he goes, okay, Al, maybe we should start getting some drum sounds and stuff like that. And I was like, I'm done, let's cut. We started cracking up. And those were the days of the Wild Fiesta, you know, those early 80s, you know. They told me, I think they told us we had a good time, you know. I don't remember. But, you know, like I said, I mean, immediately we cut, you know, we ran it down once and made a couple of changes, arrangement changes. And then, like you said, I think it was the second take we kept. And we all went in to listen to the playback. And just, he cranked it on the big speakers, you know, and we're just grooving and we're listening to it. And I'm going, damn, man, this sounds incredible, man, you know. And I'm, you know, as a closet engineer, and you used to spend a lot of time with me. I'll get into that in a second, but I just noticed, I was looking at it was an old API desk, Studio 2, so it's sound. And there's I was looking at the EQ, and I was like, I'm like, there's nothing going on, you know, like, you know, like, so I go, man, my guitar sounds incredible, what'd you do? And he goes, nothing. You know, dude, I'm like going, you know, I'm so used to guys like going this, and compression, and everything's got to be like, which is amazing. And the same with the drums, the way they breathe, and the stereo spread of just the four of us basic rhythm guys, you know, playing, and it just sounded so fat and so real, you know, and that's something that all of Al's records, no matter what style it is, he captured this air in the moment, and everything has its place without being over. A lot of people over EQ, over compress, especially now, especially in rock records, man. Everything's like so squashed and like that. This is just absolutely cool. Anybody that's ever worked with me, man, has that wonderful experience, you know. And you know, as Paige was usually customarily about 5 to 6 hours late, I was able to sit with Al and he talked to him about how the process goes. He taught me a lot of things about mics and brilliant man. It's a great honor. I just can't tell you how honored I am to be sitting here amongst all these legends who are my friends that I've had a chance to work with. But one of the finest, most greatest gentlemen I've ever known in my life, and a dear friend of mine, Al Schmitt.